Okay, so you've got a choice to date two different women. One of them is 30 years old and one of them is 20 years old. Now, without knowing any of their individual characteristics or accounting for personality, I would always advise you to date the 20-year-old. There are a number of reasons for this. She's likely to be prettier, any babies that she produces are more likely to be healthy, she's less likely to be embittered by life, fewer sexual partners. She's younger, so it's going to be easier for you to take that leadership position in the relationship. But leaving all of that aside, the reason that I want to talk about today is that older women are less likely to love you. I want you to watch this clip from one of my older interviews. I asked these girls to explain why women change their dating strategy once they get older, past 30. They stop chasing the fun and excitement of bad boys and start going for a more stable, reliable provider type man. Listen to their answer.
I guess, I don't know, I feel like a lot of women don't really care about the guy, they just want a baby and they just want to get married, and they don't care about like the marriage, so they just kind of want anyone. And I think they probably think that the beta male is an easier choice to get, maybe. What she said.
I want to thank that woman for her honesty. She and her friend were heaps of fun to talk to. Now, in case you missed what she said, what she's explaining is that older women really want to have a baby, and that's their first priority, not their partnership. So she doesn't really care about the man or the marriage. What she really wants is that baby. Now, this isn't going to be a video where I'm going to get all judgmental or anything like that. There's no need. We're just talking about the practical realities of dating and relationships. We're talking about biology. Now, unlike men who can have children well into their 60s or even 70s, it's not the same case for women. There's a different biological clock going there. They have a very narrow window of time where they can get pregnant and there not be a risk of some kind of health problem for the child or for the woman, or even the risk of just not being able to get pregnant at all. So as much as we're living in this modern society and like to think of ourselves as all civilized, basically we're still animals. You know, we're the same as every other animal on the planet. We have this strong instinct to reproduce. And this is what happens to women when they reach age 30 or older, is they start to panic. They can sense that their time window for having children is narrowing. And so they go, oh gosh, I need to have a baby quickly. I want to pass on my genes to the next generation. Now compare that kind of panicked mindset with a woman in her early 20s. They're in a completely different stage of life and she's not necessarily thinking about having babies yet. So when she's dating, she's not exclusively looking for just a man who's going to be able to provide an income and some sperm. She's looking for so much more than that. She's looking for a partner, somebody she can learn from, somebody she can grow with, share experiences, and forgive the corniness, but somebody that she can fall in love with. Of course, she's going to want babies down the line, but there's no need to rush that. Right now, she's looking for somebody who she can form a genuine connection with. Okay, now take that 20-year-old woman and fast forward 10 years and imagine that she hasn't fallen in love. She hasn't found Mr. Right. She doesn't have a life partner. Now, of course, in an ideal world, she'd still like to fall in love. She'd still like to attract that life partner, but 10 years has gone by and she hasn't had any success. Maybe she's a bit embittered. Maybe she's quite guarded and she doesn't really believe in the possibility of love anymore. And so while of course she'd still like to find that life partner, this desire to find love is just not at the top of her priority list anymore. It's been replaced by this desire to have a baby. She's feeling less romantic and wanting to chase that fairy tale, that Hollywood love story of being swept off her feet by some handsome prince. She's more practical now. What she really wants is to reproduce. And so when you meet one of these older women who's obviously got babies on the brain, she's not going to be looking at you through the eyes of love and romance and whimsy and fantasy. No, she's going to be scanning you with a very practical mindset. Is he reliable? Is he likely to leave me? Is he kind? Is he dependable? Does he make good money? Does he have a good job? Is he going to be able to provide for me and our children? With those considerations at the forefront of her mind, it's a lot less likely that she's going to be able to see the real you. So I'm not talking about the superficial characteristics of you, like how much money you bring in. I mean the real, authentic you, your hopes, your dreams, the deepest parts of your personality. That's not what she's going to be interested in. Now, with all of those considerations, it doesn't mean that she's not going to appear to be super into you. Absolutely not. If you tick all of her boxes, one of these older women will turn it on and make you feel like you are the most desirable man alive. She always makes herself available for you. She does you favors. She's sexually generous. She laughs at all of your jokes. She might even like you. Absolutely, that is a genuine possibility. But you need to be a little bit cautious. You need to be aware that maybe all of this is just an act because she's keen to lock you down. She sees that you're a good catch, that you're dependable, that you're going to be a good provider, that you're obviously different from all of the jerk guys that she was dating in her early 20s. And so she's going to do whatever it takes to make you happy, to make you commit to her, to make you be the father of her children and provide for them. Like I said before, there's no need to get all judgmental or moralistic about this. This is just the biological reality of the stage of life that she's in. What happens is that a lot of guys don't understand what's motivating her. All they see is this woman who seems to be super into him. Wow, she's so generous. Look at how much attention she's giving me. This is fantastic. I found a partner who's really, really in love with me. But after you've made the commitment, had a couple of babies, suddenly all of that attention that she was giving you, that all just dries up. It just goes away. All the sexual generosity, that dries up too. Now the two of you barely have sex. It seems like she has no time with you. She only spends time with the children. And yet you're still expected to bring in all this money to provide for everyone. Even though there's very little love or attention flowing towards you anymore, if you so much as contemplate leaving her, trying to find a relationship that is fulfilling to you, then you're a superficial, shallow, horrible man who's acting selfishly. And so you're stuck and you're thinking, what the hell happened? What changed? But that's the point. You see, nothing changed. She's actually being completely consistent with her strategy. It's just that you weren't aware of what was going on. You as a person didn't matter to her as much as you did as a role. And that role is father and provider. She was looking for a man to fulfill that role because that's what her biology was telling her to do. That's where her instincts guided her, to find a kind, dependable man to fill that role. Now, in order to make these videos, I do need to make some generalizations, but of course you need to judge this on an individual basis. There are definitely 30-plus-year-old women who are capable of loving the real you, and there are 20-year-old women who are completely baby crazy and are just looking for a provider. But on the whole, the older a woman is, the less likely she's going to be interested in what makes you unique. The less likely she's going to be falling in love with you, your personality, what makes you special. It's a lot more likely you're just going to be viewed in terms of your role and what you're able to provide. Her love for you is more likely to be practical rather than romantic. I haven't given it a lot of thought, but I don't think that this phenomenon would apply to menopausal women because they're no longer going to be guided by their instinct to have children. So I'd imagine that for women who are 50, 60 or so, if they're dating somebody, they're not going to be so interested in just finding a provider because they probably already had their children or they've given up any hope of, passing on their genes. So potentially older women, after they reach a certain age, are capable of a more sincere love. I'm not sure. But my larger point is this. If you want to be loved, and I mean really loved by somebody who wants to form a connection with you, somebody who wants you as a life partner, then you're better off dating young women, women who aren't thinking about babies yet, because they're going to be coming to the relationship with a more pure mindset. If a woman is really after babies and she's in that stage of life, she's going to be in a practical mindset. And she's less likely to see you as an authentic person.